What is going on, guys? It's Dan here from the Wolfpack, and today bringing you yet another match review. They're coming in thick and fast, aren't they, these games? But I tell you what, I'm really proud again to be a Wolves fan. A point earned for sure. I'm really proud, and we're going to get into all of the game and everything, so stick around. I'll see you in just a second. Before we get into anything, guys, do us a massive favour, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. I just want to say a massive thank you for all the support over the holiday. Obviously, it's a little bit more tricky to be able to bring all these videos to you, and you know what, we've really hit it out the park. I think we've done really well recently, so it'd be really good to see you guys sort of replicate that with, you know, hitting that subscribe button, hitting that like button, you know, doing all the fun things that help us as a channel. Really trying to make way, really, after what's been a bit of a shaky season, really. I mean, it's been a shaky season for Wolves, but it's also been a shaky season for us as well. It's been quite hard getting enough time to be able to do this and everything. So I really appreciate you guys sticking around and you getting involved as much as possible. So yeah, really appreciate that. But yes, guys, it's ended 2-2 against Tottenham away. Massive point earned, and I'm really thankful to have a manager of Vitor Pereira's calibre, because you can say what you want about the players on the pitch today. There was a good portion of this game where Wolves was second best for quite a good portion of the game, and some really intelligent substitutions later, and we looked like we could win the game. All of a sudden, the substitutions that he's chosen were all so positive. It wasn't about, you know, thinking, oh, you know what, you know, we are losing, but we don't want to lose too much. It was about, right, let me bring on some positive substitutions and make a difference and get something out of this game. And that is exactly what has happened. Really good managing again from Vitor Pereira. I think even if we went on to lose that game, there was some really positive, some good positives, and we're going to talk all about them. So as you can see, Wolves 2, Tottenham 2, and it was always going to be one of those games, wasn't it? Two teams that have been leaking goals for fun, but scoring goals for fun. It was going to be one of those that I was actually quite surprised wasn't on TV, just due to the fact that both teams have been scoring so many goals but letting so many in. So it was always going to be one of those really entertaining fixtures, and it ended up being exactly that. Let's talk about how we lined up. So we set up exactly the same way. We set up as a 3-4-2-1, but almost like a 3-4-3 basically, with Hwang this time being our number 9 instead of Strand Larsen. Bellegarde and Cunha as the wingers turned 10s. Semedo and Aït-Nouri on the wings as wing backs. Andre and João Gomez in the middle as our midfields pivots. We had Doherty, Bueno and Dawson this time because Totti was injured, and also we had Sarr in goal, of course. And yeah, we'll talk about obviously the match, the player reviews at the end. But let's go ahead and have a look at this first half. So, as you can see, Wolves very poor when it comes to what the stats are showing you here. One shot on target, obviously ended in a goal. We'll talk about that in a minute. But, you know, not great. You know what I mean? Not great. And for me, I just wanted to go in at half-time, 1-1, and try and address the situation. see what's not quite going right. And we'll get into it in a minute, of course, but I do think that the manager in the second half, after a teething period of looking quite poor, to be fair, and looking like Tottenham were just going to cruise to 3 points, turned it around, as you can see. We had more possession, loads more shots, only 2 of them being on target, but 2 of them being on target that scored, But also, piling on the pressure with some good accurate passing and everything. And yeah, it just looked to me as though in that second half, the managers just found something that clicked, just tweaked a few things, and Wolves looked very, very good towards the end of the game, and probably unlucky to not get all 3 points, really, which is absolute madness. So let's talk about the goals. Hwang scores from a free kick that's 100% been worked on the training ground. You got 3 players standing over this free kick, and Spurs probably expect one of them to score, but it goes short to Hwang, and who's only just scored a goal very recently, obviously on Boxing Day against Manchester United, has obviously already found some confidence. And when you've got confidence in Hwang, he will score goals. We saw that last season. And he does it. And he scores from outside the box. And it's an absolute beaut. It's a beaut of a goal, because he's still got so much to do. But he manages basically to thread the needle, to go through all of those Tottenham players, but also the same side that Forster's diving, but it's so neatly put into that bottom corner that Forster's got absolutely no chance. And then all you're thinking then is Wolves could go on and win this quite comfortably, because we've seen under our new manager that Wolves don't just do what we did under Gary O'Neill, where we just concede very, soon after we've scored. But that's exactly what happens, unfortunately. And again, it's from a corner, which I thought we were starting to iron this out, but we haven't. But I will be slightly less harsh on this one, because Bentancur has come from absolutely nowhere, and it's such a thunderbolt of a header. Like it's completely unsavable for one. And if a Wolves head gets to that, it's a fantastic bit of defending, and unfortunately, none of them can climb high enough. Bentancur wants it more than the defenders, and it's 1-1. And to be fair, I actually thought we were going to go in at half time at 1-1. But they also get a penalty shout. Andre fouls Johnston in the box. I don't think it's a penalty, to be honest. I think it's very, very soft. It's one of those in which, yes, there's contact, but it's not intended contact to foul the player. It looks to me like he's just running, and he's caught him in his stride, basically, and Johnston's gone over, and they've called for the penalty. But luckily, big Jose Sarr saves Son's penalty. And you're still thinking, you're rubbing your hands together and thinking, you know what? Could this be another upset? Because it's still 1-1 at that point. So it could still go anywhere. And unfortunately, Johnson gets a goal just before half time. And to be fair, it's a very well-worked goal. I just think we need to defend it a lot better. I think Dawson had a very, very poor game coming in for Totti. Just doesn't really have the... He doesn't have the speed, and he doesn't have the sort of quick mind to sort of neglect decisions from happening, to stop goals from happening, to stop passes coming through and everything. He just doesn't really seem to be at the races at the moment. And Johnson puts it in, and it is a very, very well worked goal. I won't say it's not. And then it's 2-1 to them. We go in half time, and we're thinking, you know what? Ooh, there's still something in this game. There's still goals that can be had. you know, Cunha then doesn't come on in the second half through an injury. But changes definitely did need to be made, and this is where I really like our new manager, because he is not afraid to make changes. As you can see here, again, every single game he makes 5 changes. Every game so far, this manager has made 5 changes, and they've all been positive changes. So this time, Guedes and Strand Larsen come on. And yeah, okay, you've took Cunha off, but I said this in the live watch along. We do need to see Cunha out of this team, and we do need to see how Wolves will perform without their star player, because he will be banned soon. So we need to see this. We need to sort of witness what this team is going to be able to achieve without their star player in that system. And for a very good length of time, I will be honest, we didn't create enough. We didn't keep the ball. And Spurs looked like they were going to cruise to a very comfortable 2-1. But, again, some really, really positive substitutions again. 69, 78 and 78. 3 really positive substitutions here. Rodrigo Gomez, Forbes and Tommy Doyle. First of all, Forbes comes on and Rodrigo Gomez comes on, and they start actually crapping themselves on the wings, because all of a sudden there's pace there. All of a sudden there's creativity there, and they couldn't handle it at all. And that is exactly where Strand Larsen's goal comes from. Really bit of intelligent play on the wing. Ait Nouri manages to thread a nice little pass in, behind Spurs' back line. Jurgen Strand Larsen gets onto it, and he's got loads to do still, to be fair. And everyone basically is screaming for him to sort of put the ball back into a dangerous area. But he just goes for it himself, turns around, swivels, hits it first time with his left foot, and it sails into the goal. 2-2, and at that point, you're absolutely buzzing. And you're thinking, you know what? We could go ahead here and end up winning this game. Because Spurs look really shaken at that point. Udogie comes off for them with an injury. They're already suffering with the defenders as it is. Foster looks absolutely awful in goal. You're just thinking, you know what? If we kept pushing them, if there was more time, I genuinely think Wolves win this match. We started to sort of twist the screw. We started to see where we could hurt them, and we started to hurt them, and that is all down to Vitor Pereira. Yes, okay, the players have to do what they have to do when they go onto the pitch, but you could just see what we were asking of. We were asking for a little bit more creativity on those wings. We're asking for a little bit more pace on the ball, and that's exactly what we started to see. And that led to us getting a point out of a game where, for a vast majority of that second half, it just didn't look like it was going to come, especially Cunha going off injured. And it's filled me with some good confidence, because Hwang scores again. Confidence. Jose Sarr saves from a penalty. Confidence. We've seen what this manager's capable of actually after going down, to 2-1. We've seen what this manager's capable of. We haven't seen that so far, because we've only been winning games very, very comfortably, and we haven't been under the cosh. And to be under the cosh, be without Cunha, and still get something out of a game like this away at Tottenham is something we should be really, really proud of. I know a lot of Wolves fans will be annoyed because we haven't picked up 3 points in a battle down there. You really want to pick up 3 points. Of course you do, and I'm sure that was definitely the intent to at the start of the match, and I definitely think that was the intent after all those substitutions came on. So a lot of positive things and a lot of things to be proud of again, under this new manager. I've got to say, I'm really, really impressed with the characteristics from this squad. When it comes to fighting, like we're looking like we're fighting again. You know, this picture here that I've put in the thumbnail, that's in the dressing room after a game where you've only got a point away from home, but that's huge, guys. I can't tell you how huge it is to at least pick points up against teams like Spurs. You know, at least get points away from home. Like it's a massive, massive thing. 3 games undefeated under Vitor Pereira now. And you're starting to think, you know what, okay, the next game we'll probably lose because it's Forest and they're second at the moment in the league. Do you know what I mean? But Vitor Pereira said it the best in the video we saw of them in the dressing room. And that is, this team is capable and has the quality to be able to win games or at least draw games and pick points up. And we're halfway through the season now. We've had a dreadful first half of the season. Let's pick it up now. Let's try and be positive, get behind the manager, get behind the players, and let's see now what we are capable of. Do you know what I mean? Let's look at the player scores, because we like to do that. Sar's got a 6.2. I don't agree with it. He's saved a penalty for one. The 2 goals that we conceded, you just don't save those. They hit at such velocity that you're just not getting to those goals. I do think at times he was a bit scary the way he was coming sort of out of his box again, but a couple of times that actually paid off. A couple of times I think Sarr coming out his box was actually the right decision. And even though there was a couple where it wasn't the right decision, and he did look a little bit, scary on the ball. I think all in all, I don't think you could fault his performance today. I don't think he was awful, to be honest. He saves a penalty. I mean, that deserves a 7 in itself. Doherty again. I don't know how this guy has got this level of performance in him now. It's absolutely mental. Playing as a centre-back in the Premier League, and he just looks like a completely different player. He's still spreading the play really well, defending really well. He made 1 tackle against Son. It was, in the right at the edge of the box, in a really threatening position, ready to unlock, a Wolves defence and put it in the back of the net. And he just makes this fantastically timed tackle, completely takes Son out of the game. And I actually think the same about Bueno. Bueno today, really confident on the ball, and really confident at clearing with his head. Dawson was dreadful. I don't know how. I really, really feel sorry for Dawson, because there used to be such a great player in him, but I just feel like he's done. I do. I'm really sorry, and I don't want to say that about a player, but I just don't think he's Premier League fit anymore. Really clumsy on the ball, too slow getting back, and then he made a couple of blocks here and there, but for that second goal, it's all about Dawson, that is. I'm sorry. So yeah, poor Semedo, really, really good again. Ait-Nouri, the best I've seen him all season. Rightly so, gets an 8.7. 2 assists, that itself gives you an 8.7. But I actually really like what he's doing just lately. Because, yes, okay, he's still sort of out of position, but he's finding himself running back a little bit more. And he didn't get substituted today. And I was very surprised at that, because he's played quite a lot of minutes for Wolves recently. He got substituted off against Man United. And I like the idea of Ait-Nouri being almost that Cunha role. When we lose Cunha, Ait-Nouri needs to pick it up, because he's very much that calibre of player if he wants to be. He hasn't probably got the finish in him, but he's definitely got the feet, he's definitely got the pace, the trickery that Cunha has. So in my opinion, I think in the next game, I'd actually play Aït-Nouri further forward and put Rodrigo Gomez there. I don't think that's a bad shout because obviously we're going to lose Cunha for Forest. It just is what it is. Either through injury or through the ban. I'd put Aït-Nouri there because he did really well. I thought he was a bit frustrating a little in the second half, but when you needed him, he produces 2 really good assists. Really intelligent for the first one, obviously on the training ground, like I said earlier, and then the second one, a really well timed ball to Strand Larsen. Really intelligent. So Bellegarde, worst player on the pitch by far. I'd give him a 4. He was absolutely dreadful. Barely even saw him in the first half. Rightly so, he went off in the second. I think we should sell him. I don't see what he offers this team anymore. I really, really wanted him to do well, but I just don't see him in that winger role. I see him more as a centre mid. And when we're playing 2 pivots, I just don't see where he fits in this system at all. I don't want players to leave Wolves, but I just don't feel like he just fits this system at all. And I think he's just going to be cast aside every single time. I mean, Guedes came on for him and he was just a completely different player. Pace on the ball, getting forward, just looked so much more threatening, and I don't really think Bellegarde offered anything throughout that whole game. Cunha, fairly quiet, but had some intelligent passes and touches throughout the first half. Didn't really do anything to warrant a decent score, I suppose, but it's not really his fault he gets injured and comes off in the second. Could argue as well he's extremely tired. João Gomez and Andre, again, like these, I think Andre was fairly poor in the first half, and in the second half, obviously gets injured, comes off. But I think João Gomez kind of made him look better than Andre was today, because I think João Gomez was doing a lot more, and sort of filling in for Andre at times, almost like a midfielder on his bloody own, until Doyle comes on. And I actually think Doyle should start in the next game. I think it should be Gomez and Doyle, or Gomez and Lamina if he's fit. I think obviously Andre has picked up an injury, but I do think that's down to his fatigue. I don't think he should have started this game. I don't think he's fit enough to start that many games, and it obviously showed today. Hwang Hee-chan, best I've seen him in for ages, gets the goal, does come off, rightly so, still doesn't look quite fit, but definitely see something more in him than we've seen for a while. Fantastic finish for the goal, and also I think he just gets about really well when he's got a bit of confidence. He does get about really well, and he was actually getting back quite nicely as well after Cunha went off. So yeah, good, fair play to him, and I don't think it's the best we've seen Wolves all season, but I do think we've saw so many positives in there to give us a bit of belief about staying up now, because we haven't lost in 3 games, and we've seen some players out there doing well that I thought were dead and buried throughout this season. So yeah, some really good positives. Something definitely to work on. Definitely need to work on corners again. Definitely need to get some centre backs in, because although Breno Doherty's doing really well, Dawson's not up for it, and Totti injured now as well. Hopefully he's back for Forest, because I think Breno, Totti and Doherty have been really good. And I think that upset the balance a little bit, and I think that probably is where all the goals came from. So it's a bit unfortunate. I think if Totti plays that game, I don't think we concede as many goals. But it is what it is. That is football. Really proud of the point. Would have took it from at the start. And long may this continue. Vita Pereira, still no defeats. Long may that continue. And guys, if you enjoyed that, do us a big favour. like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit that notification bell so you don't miss future videos, and I shall see you on the next one in a bit.